Welcome, adventurers! You've made it to the Wind Down, the live stream at the end of the Geekverse. It's a chill place to hang out here as the sun sets on another day. We're here to have a little chat, reflect on the day's successes, and prepare for a better tomorrow. So settle in with your favorite beverage this evening.
May I tempt you with a cup of chamomile?
Why, thank you, Dory. I would love a mug of tea this evening, but perhaps you would rather have some coffee, though I do recommend a decaf this late in the evening. Or perhaps maybe a cold brew is more your style.
Oh, no thank you, Dory. A little red wine. For me, Isaac.
Sounds like an excellent choice, Gandalf. Whatever you want, it's yours. Could I offer you a bourbon, a martini, an old-fashioned, or something perhaps a little stronger? Ugh. Well, I mean, if that's really your thing, then okay, but I hope we can find something a bit better than that.
Romulan ale? Why, Bones, you know this is illegal.
I only use it for medicinal purposes.
All right, now we're talking. I'm Heath, and I'll be your host. Welcome to my home. Come one, come all, writers, artists, sculptors, storytellers, board gamers, streamers, dungeon masters, fans of sci-fi, fantasy, geeks of all kinds. Whatever your fandom, you have a place here. For soon it will be time for another long rest so that we can recover our hit points, our spells, and our abilities, so we'll be ready to fight on for another day tomorrow. But first, we all need a little time to reflect, because you've survived another long, perilous day of wilderness treks, dungeoneering, and random encounters, and that's worth celebrating. Let's tell the tale. It's time for the Wind Down. It will improve your life. It really will. Give it a chance. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the welcome to the Wind Down. Welcome to the Wind Down. I'm so glad to see you. We've got Stray in here. Welcome. We've got Inner Light and the Dad Gamer. Welcome, Dad Gamer. Good to see you. So glad you're all here. Has it been a good day? I tried to attack it as hard as I could today. I'll share the productivity here. I think that going to the notebook should be something we should incorporate here, and then we can all do it together. And you can chime in on what happened to you as well. So first thing we should do, though, is breathe. If you haven't taken any breaths today, if you haven't been breathing today, now would be a good time to go ahead and breathe, because here we are at the end of things. So maybe you've been attacking the day like I have, been worked up. Going to breathe, deep inhale, complete exhale. That's so much better. And now, take a sip of your favorite beverage. I've got tea again this evening. You've got wine, bourbon, cognac, whatever it is. I feel the wind down going on. Okay, so let's remember why we are here this evening. I've got some things to talk about, some things I was thinking about today, about the D&D 1 situation and drama and controversies and things like that. So we're going to talk about that. I'll bring that up. But we're here to reflect on the day. Wine today. We got the Dad Gamer has some wine. That white or red. A couple nights ago I had red wine. I like red wine. But we're reflecting on the day, and we've got two options. Did we have a good day, or are we going to improve tomorrow? Those are our two options. I hope yours was good. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat. We can talk about that as well. Happy to take questions. I think this is best when this is interactive. We're going to celebrate victories. If you had any particular victory today that you want to talk about, that you want us to cheer, please put those in the chat. If you didn't have a good day and you're going to improve tomorrow, well, we can talk about how to improve tomorrow. Did you have a random encounter? Did something strange happen to you today, or bizarre, or whatever? We can talk about that as well. So that's what we're doing here, and I'm so glad to have you here. I'll turn down the music slightly. All right. Well, we're going to go to the notebook over here. I'll share my progress, trying to be kept accountable. Oh, I go over here. hold myself accountable. This morning, we got some acronyms going on here. We got productivity acronyms that we know here. So we can call those out and we can use those. So I weighed in this morning, and for some reason, I was going up in weight, but I'm still not worried about it. You track day to day, you've got day-to-day fluctuations. I'm not worried about it, but a bit higher. As long as the system is in place, that's all that matters. Inner Light says, mostly good day, lots of room for improvement tomorrow. You could say I had a rather startling random encounter with a wizard. Oh, whoa. Well, I'm glad you will improve for tomorrow. Lots of room for improvement, good to recognize, and then we will improve tomorrow. But a random encounter with a wizard, we'll have to know more about that. The Dad Gamer, my kid has his second class in drama club. Oh, I was in drama club. I love drama club. I did it for a couple of years in high school. So that's really good. Congratulations. So yes, GD in the chat. So we're just talking in general right here. We got GD. That's good day. If you had a good day, GD in the chat. You can explain something if you like. You can add something extra to it, or you can just say GD. So we know that you had a good day and we can bring it up and we can celebrate. So Stray says, GD, good day. Organized all my PDFs and copied them to another computer. Was able to drop the bits of my writing that weren't helping me. That's good. I've got tons of writing like that. So got to hang out on Discord. It was a good day. I saw people hanging on Discord. I'm going to try to get into Discord here after the wind down just a little bit. I was in there today again on the afternoon walk. I'm really liking the Discord. Oh, should I put in a link to the Discord server? If you are here, if you have found your way here, let me put out a 1 hour link to the Ravenkeep Discord server. I'll put that in there. There we go. Discord server link. It was a good day. So yes, so we've got GD for good day overall. All right. First of all, AF. This is one thing I'm working on. I'm trying to lose weight, and I found that I can't lose weight nearly as effectively when I'm drinking alcohol. So I decided, you know what? Until I get to my goal weight, I'll see about eliminating alcohol, or at least, dropping it way back. I need to drop it back anyway, but unless there's a party or something like that, trying to go alcohol free. So today was another alcohol free day. Whoop, got a bad pen here. So that was a success on my side. So I get the check mark. Now, CTA. So if you were AF and that's important to you, you can put that in the chat, or maybe it's smoke free. Was that SF or something else? Doesn't have to be alcohol free. Can be whatever. If you were working on something, you were trying to go for some kind of streak, come up with your own acronym. That's great. But that was one thing I was working on. So that should help me get to my weight goal. AF, CTA. CTA is heed the call to action. Did you heed the call to action? And that's getting up when you wanted to get up in the morning and getting to tackle the things you wanted to tackle, like work or other things. So the call to action, I was up. I posted to Discord and on Twitter my watch at 5 o'clock this morning. I was here at the desk. I have a good day when I'm up and working at 5 o'clock in the morning. So heeded the call to action. That's check. That's another great one right there. The WR, that's the watch rings. Did you hit your watch rings? I need to charge my watch. But hit watch rings, confirmation, whatever your goals are. Now might be a great time to update your goals. Make sure they're goals you can actually hit during the day. So watch ring, hit those. Now, problem was with big rocks. MBR, if you hit watch rings, put WR in the chat. WR in the chat. If that's something important that you're doing, you don't have to do all of this. You just do what works for you. Take the parts that you need, leave the parts that you don't. You may need to add other parts. This is all about getting you where you need to be. You know where you need to be. You know what you need to be doing to do it. Don't do what I'm doing. Do what you need to do. But big rocks. So MBR is moving big rocks. And during the morning grind, we take a look at our big rocks. And these were the 3 big rocks that I selected today. Was getting the ritual 0.7 rules complete. And I did that. I'm going to let them cool. I got to look at them again tomorrow. So I didn't email them out. I wasn't planning on doing that anyway, but I got them complete. A lot of thinking there. I thought of different variations for a ritual. I kept thinking of different variations for how to do the casting cards. But it just seems like the simplest way, which we had talked about on the live streams on the morning grind, where everyone's just dealt ritual cards and is able to play the one they want. It's the simplest, but it seems to be the one that's working the best. So we've got that. And then I was working on I also wanted to clip out some YouTube videos today out of our live stream, try to put them out and try to get let people know what we're doing, in a more easily digestible and easily found format. So I wanted to do that, and I was experimenting with new technology. Sometimes you have got to take some time to learn new technology. And, that's always a big problem for me, because that doesn't feel like time that is spent real well. You're like, I'm just sitting here learning a new piece of software I've got to learn, or some new skill in general. So you just plow on doing it the old way, and you're being inefficient. There may be some better way to do it, but it's going to take learning time. So there's been a couple of things lately that I've been investing learning time. And I think you can count that like toward core creative activity or personal time. If there's some kind of skill you really need to learn, some kind of software you really need to learn, whatever that is, block everything out and sit down and learn it. So I was doing that, and I learned some new ways to do some more efficient things like video clipping. And I got that done. Although I realized that maybe my settings weren't perfect, so I might have to readjust tomorrow, but I got that done. But on the other hand, I was trying to get my email zeroed, and I was working on going through email before this live stream, and I missed it. There's still stuff sitting in the inbox. So I did not complete moving my big rocks today. And I've still got to get into the Discord as well. I know there are private messages in Discord and everything else going on, so I need to get to that too. So I was not MBR today, but that's where I stood. But it was a lot of time. See, when I get up and working at 4 o'clock in the morning, I was even able to do extra things today. This was Raven Keep time. That's like 4.5, 5.5 hours, an hour of cleaning, an hour of active recreation, going for the hike. YouTube, I'll be doing another hour of YouTube tonight right here. And then core creative time, I had 3 hours. That was thinking about ritual and getting those rules going. So that over here on this side of things is a big check mark. I even got extra time in. That's what that little dotted line is. So I like to see blue checks, because that means I hit my time goals for the day. So that's where I stood. Good day. Good day. Good day. Still got a lot of cleaning to do. The Dad Gamer says, and I finished running my first time being a DM in D&D campaign. Took 8 months to play. Finished running the first time. Wow. Congratulations. An 8-month D&D campaign. First time DMing. Congratulations. I'll drink to that. Inner Light says, I was fighting my dragon most of the day, so that was why I didn't get much through the rocks, but I may have found a different way to handle the dragon, so have to do more research. Yeah, well, that would be an important thing to research. Yeah, that time, like I said, I was just talking about the learning new skills or the researching something like that. Sometimes that doesn't feel like productive time, but it can be such a massively productive time. And we've got congratulations as well, for the time it saves later on. And Stray says, way to go, the Dad Gamer. Excellent, excellent. So that's where we stand. Questions. We can take questions. That's fine. We can talk about what I was thinking about today. While I was on the walk, I was thinking about, let me bring up my notes over here. Wherever they are. What? Oh, here they are. Oh, so, our D&D 1 situation, I had no idea there was, actually, one of those things that you should have probably expected, right? That there was going to be a whole lot of, or potentially controversy or drama or things like that about that. When I was pulling up the material this morning, I was expecting just to kind of look at the rules and what's being changed and things like that. I didn't get to investigate more about the all online stuff and things like that, but that surprises me. We'll be living in a different world if there are no physical D&D books to be had, right? That still seems like they're going to print something. But I can understand if they are. I can understand two things. I can understand somebody's motivation if they were trying to move to some kind of all subscription based thing for an online environment or something. I can understand why someone would do that, but I would also understand why that would all of a sudden become a very controversial choice in gaming and something that would be upsetting to people. So we'll see. But so my philosophy, though, there might be a lot of reasons to like it, and there might be a lot of reasons to not like it, and could be a lot of reasons to like and not like a lot of things. And we talked about, is it too woke? That came up right in the comments. Is it woke? Is it not woke? Is it not woke enough? Is it based or whatever? I mean, that could be one angle for whoever you are on whatever angle you take on all of that stuff, to like it or not like it. You could certainly like or not like the online format, if it's an all online format, or even if it's just online format emphasis in their own system, or whatever that is. You could not like that, or you could love it and embrace it, or you could not like the rules, which is what I was kind of interested to see what was going on with this morning. And I still want to look at it more, see what the changes are, what's actually going on with it. You could love the rules, you could hate the rules. So, that's at least 3 different axes on which you could either love, hate, or be indifferent to that game, I guess. And that applies to all the different games as well. So, as far as I think we're concerned here, or at least I'm concerned on this channel, I'm sure, I'll like it or I won't like it, whatever. And if I don't like it, I think the solution is just to move on. I'll be moving on. If I don't like it, I've still got more of the playtest rules to read, and then I'll check into all the online stuff as well. But my philosophy is that if I don't like something, then I should just stop, right? And play something else. Don't play that game. Don't watch that TV show. Don't watch that movie. I kind of think life's too short. It's difficult to. I don't want to dwell on things, and sometimes we can get caught up on that. I think we had this term we need to bring back, because when I was trying to explain a general philosophy of productivity, we don't want to be caught in the morass. We had a phrase, being caught in the morass. We wanted to stay out of the morass. But there's a philosophy similar to that I don't want to just dwell on. Spend all of my time thinking about how much I don't like something, and spending a lot of time, because you know what, you could be spending that time making your own thing. If D&D 1 is something that people don't like, it could be someone here in the Ravenkeep community who comes up with a fantastic alternative that some group of people really do like, because it hits all the things that they need. So, I think there's a lot of potentially creative energy that's being spent, or that can be spent and often is spent online and everywhere else, being very negative and critical about things that you can't really control. I mean, Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro are going to do what they're going to do with Dungeons and Dragons, regardless. Same situation with Star Wars or Star Trek. I can't do anything about it. In all of those situations, my ultimate philosophy on that is that money talks, right? There can be a lot of discussion, and we can discuss it. We can discuss whatever we want to discuss. But I don't know that constant online discussion has that big of an impact. I think that a lot of that has to do with money talks. Well, I saw it, I didn't really like it, so I didn't buy it, or I stopped the subscription, or I didn't go see the movie or something like that. And then if enough people do that, then probably there will be some kind of impact. But otherwise, that's about it, right? That's about it. Anything going on in the chat here? Oh, it's Heather. Hi. Good evening, Heather. Heather says, good evening, everyone. Had to say I loved hanging out in Discord with everyone. Community is awesome. Thank you. I really want to grow that, because my philosophy here on that, I'm using the word philosophy a lot tonight, is that the community is better than followers, because you can all help. Everybody can talk to each other in Discord, help each other. There may be problems that can be solved, things that somebody knows that somebody else can answer somebody else's question of. I saw Inner Light that you posted something that was kind of business related. And I think that under the productivity and self-improvement kind of place, we should put some type of channel for business questions, general business questions or self-publishing questions or things like that, because there are a lot of people here who might be trying to self-publish books or set up a Shopify store for what they're trying to make, all of that. And there are probably some questions you might have and people who can answer that. So I actually think that's another great thing we can add to Discord. If you have other suggestions for Discord, let me know. Right. And also to say, go back to what Heather was talking about, community is awesome. Yeah, I'm not, because I don't want it to be something that, I have to, be in or posting to Instagram or something like that 8 hours a day or something like that. If there's community, then it's going to be a better place anyway. So that's what my goal is. We'll see. Inner Light says self-torture is not fun. Yeah, why? And it seems like there are a lot of people who embrace that, right? And that seems to be a particular phenomenon of YouTube. That seems to be a phenomenon of YouTube that I don't really understand. I understand it a little bit. I understand entertainment value about, hey, I just watched this show and I didn't like it. And I thought it was bad. I thought it was terrible. And I know that there are other people who thought this was bad and thought it was terrible. And there'll be an entertainment value and also a community kind of thing to get together. Oh my God, did you just see that? It was awful. Or this guy's really good at doing a takedown of a really awful TV show or a movie or something like that. And I do understand the limited entertainment value there. Sometimes watching the show and then watching somebody do some type of, horrific takedown of it. I mean, there might be entertainment in that. I'm not saying that. But for instance, I was noticing with the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Now, you might like the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. You might not like the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. This is just an example. I, for instance, watched a couple of episodes and then stopped. Okay, so I was like, all right, I'm not really into this. I'll just stop. But man, after every Obi-Wan Kenobi episode, I'd come onto YouTube and there would be like 12 hours of live streaming that you could watch, that you could talk about like how much you didn't like that episode. I was like, I can't do that. Like, why would I do that? I've got things to make. I've got things to do. If I watch a TV show and I don't like it, okay, there might be a fun 30 minutes or something like that hanging out with like-minded people, but I can't spend 12 hours and a whole week dissecting why I hated it. We got to move on. But and worse on that is that if you really don't like something and like a group of people on the internet really want you to watch it anyway, that sounds like a terrible way to go. That because I've heard some people say that, like, oh, I wasn't going to watch, and not now, of course, they may not be telling it completely straight. I realize that too. But, if you're, it's like, I didn't like that show. I didn't like that movie. I wasn't going to watch it. But everybody online was telling me that I needed to watch it and they wanted to hear how much I hated it. Okay. I won't be doing that here. If there's something that I hate, and you can ask me a lot to go and watch something that I hate, and I'm probably not going to go and do that. So Heather agrees. I'm not going to waste time on stuff I don't like. I agree, Heath. Yeah. Thank you, Heather. Yeah. That's kind of the philosophy that I'm trying to promote here with the Discord server and this kind of stuff. There's so much stuff that we can't do anything about, and yeah, maybe we wish we're better, but we can't do anything about it. So money talks, and then we need to go and do our own thing and make sure we're living best lives and living up the best we can. Yes, Inner Light says that's not really constructive or productive criticism. Yeah, largely it's not, right? And like I said, there's entertainment value. So this isn't the only approach. There's limited, but there's entertainment values. And certainly, in many cases, there are a lot of people who band together over, dislike of certain thing and, growing audiences based on that. I mean, that's no small thing either. So you can't discount that. But yeah, when I'm looking at it, I'm going, okay, is this really being constructive or productive, either toward what we're critiquing or toward what we're trying to create? I don't know. So let's see here. Okay, I was just talking about who wants to be in a situation where you have to watch terrible things that you hate, right? I'm anti-drama. Hopefully we won't have any. I was thinking about that today as I was on the walk, though. I was like, okay, now I do need to think about if this grows, if we're able to grow here. And I don't know, we're still testing, like I said. This is day 23 of my live streaming test. And I said when I started it, I'd go for 30 days and see what happens. So we're still experimenting. We'll still be experimenting after 30 days if we keep going. But, if this grows, I was thinking, well, but inevitably there will be drama that comes in, right? So how am I going to handle that? Because that's the important thing to think about. Well, now when something comes up, I don't know what that is. How are you going to handle it? And, I was thinking, hopefully, right now, like on Discord, we need to have some rules. Well, actually, right now on Discord, we don't need to have any rules. We're small enough and everybody's great. But, there are generally rules posted in Discord, and here's what we're supposed to do here. So it should follow. Think about that. We've got a couple of people who are moderating in there, and I really appreciate the people who volunteered to be moderators in the Discord chat. If you're here, thank you so much. So I have to think about that, because I'm like, inevitably, though, something will go terribly wrong. Somebody will be saying something or doing something or something, and, well, we'll have to take care of it. But we'll try to do it in as drama-free a way to do it as we possibly can. What do you think? Yes. Any great thoughts on that? Those were kind of my big thoughts for today. I'm kind of tired. But I'm feeling good hanging out with you. I'm going to need more tea. I told everyone this morning that I did find my Wizard's Quest box. It was sitting over there. So, board game that was thought to be lost has been found and rescued. Hey, Dad, what was your D&D campaign on? Were you running a campaign? Or were you like an existing campaign? Or was this completely homebrew? Let me know. We were talking about different worlds today on the morning grind. That's the water heating up, in case you're wondering what that is. Stray, I love the rabbits. You got a good lot here. I think we do. I'm very proud of the people who are here. I think we've got a very good group, and that we're going to be able to do something, whatever all that is. And hopefully whatever it is whatever we all want to do, and we can all go together, right? We can all get it done together. That would be great. I'm doing this, I established this idea when I said, all right, I'm going to try to do this live streaming, because it's what I needed. Like the structure in the day, the anchors, they're what I need. And that's why I say you don't have to do what I'm doing. But I said, all right, I was in a very bad position. I think I've mentioned for about 6 months, didn't really realize it. And I was like, oh my God, I got to pull myself out of this. And so I was trying to think, what do I need in order to pull myself out of, the morass, worse than the morass that I was in. And one of them were anchor points throughout the day. So the first anchor point was like, I'm going to do a live stream. So I started at 9:30 and then realized, okay, I need the afternoon adventure anchor point, get outside, walk around. I need an evening anchor point to hold myself accountable. The work needs to be done by this time. So called it Evening Grind to begin with. Now it's become Wind Down, much better name for it, community name. And then I realized I need the call to adventure action point in the beginning of the day. So that's why I established them. And I figured, as long as I'm doing them, I might as well do them online and publicly. That way I'm accountable. And if other people need them, you can take whatever part of that you would like to be a part of and incorporate it into your life. And maybe we can all get going where we want to go. Heather says, let's hope against the drama. Our group now won't tolerate that crap, I don't think. I don't think so either. We'll just have to get rid of people who, if somebody has, I don't even know what. I don't know what. But, there must be something. The internet can bring out the worst of some people. So there's probably somebody out there who wants to be disruptive just for the sake of being disruptive. So we'll come up with some way to handle that when that situation comes up, I suppose. All right, there, more tea. I'll have this mug if there are other things to talk about. Has anybody seen anything good lately? We talked about shows we had not seen, but has anybody here got something that was really good that we should go and watch? I think we talked about, of course, one of the things I was seeing that was going on today, and ordinarily I say several months ago, all the drama with Disney and Iger coming back and all of that. When I got off the live stream last night, I saw a bunch of stuff coming up on social media and YouTube about the Disney situation. And of course, everybody's talking about that. But I kind of had to skip that too. There's nothing that there's nothing that I can do about the Disney CEO, right? So I guess I should just keep plowing on. Babylon 5? I mean, whether you are for it or against it or whatever, I mean, I don't know. But, regardless, there's nothing I can do about who is the CEO of Disney, so it's not really something I should worry about, I don't think. Babylon 5. I've never seen Babylon 5, and that's definitely one that I should. I think at the time I was really Star Trek loyal, and so it wasn't something that I picked up, but I should have. So Innerlight says, I picked that up again recently. It's being rebooted. Oh, it is. Not sure if it'll be as good as the original. Well, probably not. But maybe. I've been surprised in the past. I decided that was another thing I did to kind of turn my mind around, was that I was planning on not watching either The Rings of Power or House of the Dragon, because I was really afraid of what Amazon was going to do to Middle Earth. I didn't know what, but I just didn't really feel like, I bet this is not going to be real great. And of course, Middle Earth is one of my favorite, is actually my favorite fantasy world. So there was that too, feel a bit protective of it. And then also after the Game of Thrones, final seasons, I was like, do I really want to start with House of the Dragon? But I decided, you know what? I will go in and I will watch both of them, and I will sit down here and I will see what I think, and I will enjoy them. And I did watch the first 2 episodes of Rings of Power, but then strangely, I was completely indifferent to it. And I just stopped, I didn't think it was all that great. So I just stopped that. But I thought the House of the Dragon was fantastic. I loved that show. So that became appointment television for me on Sunday. And so that was, I gave both shows a shot, right? Sat down and gave them both the shot, and decided to not, I'm not going to just be automatically negative. Maybe they're both something that there's a chance that I'll really enjoy them. And I had remembered, by the way, all of the time with Game of Thrones. I was thinking about Game of Thrones at the beginning, that I did really enjoy it. I mean, there's a lot of Game of Thrones that I really enjoyed, and I enjoy all the books and things like that. And so I was like, for the sake of that, I will start watching House of the Dragon. I'll give House of the Dragon a try. I was very glad I did. Now, we had one miss for me personally, Rings of Power. I thought that was a miss. So I just stopped. But because I gave them a chance, I'm a huge fan of Rings of Power, what they did with it. Huge fan of House of the Dragon, what they did with it. So got more enjoyment. Heather says, if you have some time and want to see some real world fantasy, watch BBC's Neverwhere. It's older, but so creative. I have never heard of that at all. Let me go over to my list where I put things that's being loaded up with what you all have told me. Neverwhere? Neverwhere. I will check that out. That sounds cool. I like that name. Access Your Inner Light says, speaking of Amazon's Rings of Power, I read someplace that the show did so terribly that the CEO of Amazon wants to reboot and redo the series, and this time do it right. Possible. See, that's why I say that if I'm worried about something, or if I feel like something's not going right, well, other people might think it's going just fine and might be enjoying it, and so, hey, just more power to them. But, okay, so we've got, this is Neil Gaiman? Okay, Neil Gaiman. Oh, that's even more interesting. That's the Neverwhere. Interesting. Okay, I'll check that out. But like I said, I think the money talks. And it seems like there have been a couple of different things that have hit that were such disasters that somebody did take notice and change things. And one of those was like Han Solo, the Solo movie did really badly, right? And so that caused the cancellation of a bunch of other Star Wars movies. So it seemed like with the decline of the box office of the new sequel trilogy, culminating with what I understand anyway, I don't follow this in great detail, but I understand seemed like a large enough failure, big enough failure with Solo that, okay, we got to rethink. Now, they may not have done terribly well even after that, but that seemed like a big enough failure. That was enough money that somebody noticed. And I kind of think, from what I see now, I know some people who really like the Rings of Power, and it could be people here. So I know it seems like on my Facebook feed, I see a lot of people who really like a lot of the things that the people on YouTube don't, right? So I see both sides. I've got lots of people who, like in my Facebook feed who are really, really enjoyed it. And so lots of them really enjoyed it, but it may not have been enough. It seems like that on the whole, that one was a big one. And when you're talking about the most expensive TV show ever made, it seems like somebody somewhere must be looking for some type of mega return on that, right? Whatever it was supposed to do, more Amazon Prime subscribers or whatever it is. And who knows, I'm not behind the scenes on any of those decisions, but it just seems like reading the room, that one was a big failure. and that would have been a mega amount of money. So that might cause somebody to, that one might be another one that really causes somebody to rethink. We'll see. Either way, either I'll get another TV show to try out or I won't. Anything or anything that surprised you that you watched that you went in thinking wasn't going to be all that great, but was surprising it was. I don't have anything on the top of my head right now. I watched The Hunger Games for the first time not long ago. That one had been on my list. And I did enjoy that. I enjoyed that. I thought that some of the plot elements, and I distinguish between story and plot, that the story is much deeper. Some of the plot stuff, maybe it was a bit contrived. But on the whole, that's one of those things also that, like, we have a tendency, I think, as well, when we talk about media, let's just say media in general, to talk about the things that we don't like. I think that's probably just a natural human trend that, if we really like something, we probably don't talk about it as much, which seems counterintuitive, but there might be a human tendency in there. And I think that it's also exacerbated by the algorithms that, things that, hey, yeah, I did really like that movie. I watched that last night. It was really good. Or I read that book. I did like that book. I mean, some people, when you get into, the intense fandoms who, will talk about things they like, all the time. We're talking about just general conversation around, oh, no, I watched that. Man, that was no good. I didn't like the whatever, and I didn't like that. But even if I do like something and I've got some critiques of it, some minor problems, you know what I talk about? I talk about those. I'm like, gee, if somebody just listened to me talking about this, they would think that I didn't like this thing. But actually, I did like this thing. So I should say that, yes, actually, I do like this thing. And I want to situate that in the context of, other things that you might not like, right? Around, if there's a whole bunch of stuff that you didn't like, when you get to something that you do like, I don't want to be too hard on it. The Hunger Games was kind of close to the books, but not a horrible adaptation. I've never read the books, so I can't compare it to the books. My brother, though, he told me that he did read the books, and he actually told me that, in his opinion, it was done better than the books. He thought that was one of the rare times. That would be an interesting topic for discussion sometimes. Sometimes when things are done better than books or, the source material, as it can happen. And in his opinion, that was one of them. He thought that the changes they made, whatever they were, it was actually better. I think you do have to be aware of that as a creator as well, and that potentially aware of that in fandom as well, because it's possible there might be things that are better adaptations. Now, I say that with a large degree of, I don't know what the word I was looking for there, but I realize what I'm saying here, because I would say that for many things, that's be an extremely high bar to reach. But on the other hand, if you think about, well, this was one person writing a book that, this person was sitting there trying to think of everything by themselves, and then they did it years ago. Well, first of all, if they did it years and years ago, they might have come up with new ideas. They're like, I wrote this book 10 years ago, and if I were to write this book again today, there were some things I thought of in the intervening 10 years that I would have put in it that I would put in today. So first of all, if like the author or the creator is still around, it's possible that there could be improvements to the material. But then also, if you then put a large team of writers on something with a lot of experience, sometimes they come up with things. I mean, I think I feels like you'd be arrogant as an author to say it's impossible for them to come up with something that could be better, right? And even if it's a small thing, like didn't George R. R. Martin say that the putting the moon door in the floor, he liked that, and I think he said I want to say I saw a clip someplace that was like, where he said, I wish I had thought of that. Why didn't I think of having the moon door in the floor? Because it's like in the side of the Great Hall. So, that's a small thing, but, there might be improvements. Oh, so in some instances, I agree with your brother. On some instances, I agree with your brother on that, Heather says. So, yeah. So, it's possible. It's possible. We can't discount it. Stray says, you mentioned John Carpenter's The Thing. Had to go and keep that on in the background while I worked. LOL. Yep, that one's on the list. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. Oh. My tea. I even forgot to take out the first tea bags. That's probably it. It'll be fine. Other things you're not going to be able to improve on. Now, here's one that I'm not invested in as far as the comic book goes. It was a graphic novel, actually, I think. The Watchmen, was it not? So I say this without having read that graphic novel. But I did watch, not too long ago, maybe it's been a year now, but the movie The Watchmen. Now, there's something new that's come out that's The Watchmen, and I don't know anything about that. But there was a movie like 2 decades ago or something like that was The Watchmen, that was based on a graphic novel. Am I right about this? I think that it was based on a graphic novel. And so I watched the movie, and I really enjoyed the movie. And then after I watched the movie, I'll go and read stuff about it. And it was talking about some of the differences between the source material and the movie. And at least when I was reading that, I was going, oh, now I see why they changed that. Like there was something about a large purple octopus or something in the graphic novel or something that was a catalyst to some other plot point. Okay, Keith is chiming in here. It was a graphic novel by Alan Moore. So what I might be about to say is could be an anathema. But when I was reading what people said, okay, here was the plot of the graphic novel, and then reading the plot of the movie, they removed like the big octopus or something like that. There was the catalyst to some other event in the movie or in the story, and instead added some other event that actually circled back and hit the theme. Like as I was studying it, I was like, oh, so they had this purple octopus that does come and do something, but it's not really connected to the theme. And then in the movie, they had some other inciting incident or whatever that also came back at the end and hit the theme right. And I went, oh, well, now I say this, like I said, without having read the graphic novel, but I was like, oh, well, now that might be a circumstance where that was improved by having the inciting event come back and hammer the theme again. Trey says, the worst adaptation I have seen was the Dresden Files TV show, but I have not seen it. But had I not seen it, I would not have read the books. I am going to have to get into Dresden. I've got several friends, family members that are really into Dresden. My aunt reads them and is a big fan of them. And so Megan does too, my cousin. I believe she's into Dresden. But I don't know anything about that. And I want to look at the Dresden RPG. So I'm going to have to figure out more stuff. Stray asks, where do you get the Witch's Brew tea? That's on ravenkeep.net. I'll put the link in here. Scroll down, you'll see it. Watchmen. Yeah, Watchmen movie 2009 and HBO TV series 2019. Yeah, I don't know anything about the TV series. But I thought it was a really interesting... The 2009, I thought was a really interesting movie. Keith says the TV show that came out follows the plot of the comics instead of the movie. Okay. And that, you did like the TV show? I don't know that I've really even been in the ecosphere or whatever of the Watchmen. But yeah, I was talking about that. Trey says, if you read the Fate Accelerated RPG, there are some spoilers to the books. Well, for Dresden, yeah. Well, if we look at that, and if I look at that before I read the books, which is probably going to be the case if I'm able to see it, then if I'm able to look at it, then we'll also put out on the live stream that there are going to be spoilers or potential spoilers or something like that. Although we'll probably mainly be looking at mechanics and things like that. But I hear great things about that RPG. Oh, Stray, you did say, where do you get the Witch's Brew tea? It is coffee. The Witch's Brew is also coffee. Both Cultist Coffee and Witch's Brew are both coffees. They're different grinds. I got to do, this was kind of neat. I got to do a coffee taste testing those are custom blends that I chose. So the taste of Cultist Coffee and Witch's Brew, I went to a place that roasts and then grinds the coffee. And I went and actually had a coffee tasting. And I had never had that before. I've been to do wine tastings, but they brought me in to do a coffee tasting where I learned all about the taste of coffee and how people who are really into coffee taste coffee like, the wine connoisseurs taste wine. The different tastes they can have, the different tastes that come from different beans. Like, for instance, I got a bag right here. So the Witch's Brew, it says, is with notes of walnut, dark chocolate, and caramel. And I was like, does it have like walnut or dark chocolate or caramel flavoring in it? And no, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's that those are just the different kinds of beans, and then the way they roast the beans and the particular blend that is in here. When the coffee tasters get to work on it, that's what they taste. So it was really neat to me, because this place that I went to get these is outside of Birmingham, and they've got this big warehouse of nothing but coffee beans. I mean, you walk in, big warehouse and giant like burlap sacks of coffee beans, and they're not roasted yet. There's another big area of the warehouse where everything is being roasted, where they can take beans and then roast them and then mix them into different blends and things like that. And they get these coffee beans from all around the world. So they go to Colombia, like this should tell me on here. So the Witch's Brew comes from beans in Honduras. And then the Cultist Coffee comes from Central and South America. And there's more detailed info, I think, than that as well. But they would go around to, what do they call them? Like the sustainable farmers. Cultist Coffee is Colombia, Guatemala, and Honduras. And so grown by young coffee producers. And this guy, he's my next door neighbor, not my next door neighbor, the next door neighbor of my brother. That's how I found out about it. He said, well, my next door neighbor runs this coffee place, and you should go talk to him if you're looking for coffee. And I said, well, okay. So then he runs that place. He goes all around the world and then buys coffee beans direct from these producers around the world, brings them back to that warehouse outside of Birmingham. I mean, it's not like a dirty warehouse or something, but basically like a warehouse-like structure that's got everything set up in there, and they've got all of the different beans. And I designed the bags. Brianna helped me, but I did a lot of the bag design here, actually. Actually, I don't know if Brianna did much. I think I designed all of these bags. I think I did all the bag design. I got the bags, brought them there, and then we did this tasting, and we decided on what exactly the Cultist Coffee and Witch's Brew were going to taste like. And then I gave them, I don't remember exactly what the blend is, they've got it on file. So when need more, they can blend it right up, and then they bag it up in the bags that I've got right there. So it was a really neat procedure. It was a neat experience. So Heather says, and those coffees are both delicious. Thank you. Stray says, oh, cool. I've gotten into tea recently. I should expand my palate to coffee. That sounds more like some Redwall magic. Well, I've thought about, now this is not anything that's coming at any time soon, but I think that it would be fun to be able to do a different type of beverage for all the different worlds that I'm, want to do. So cultist coffee, especially since there was cultist coffee, the joke about cultist coffee in the cultists, that only seemed natural to go and create cultist coffee. And I do love, Carol and I designed the cultist coffee logo that looks like the Starbucks logo. I'm really proud of those. And then here's the Witch's Brew that looks like the Starbucks logo. Carol, my aunt, sketched these out, and then we vectorized them and stuff like that and turned them into these logos. I'm proud of that. So the cultist has a beverage associated with it. Rabivania could probably have tea, right? Rabivania could have tea. Maybe we come up with some type of tea blend that goes to Rabivania. I'm not talking about soon. I'm just talking about things I think about. It's just fun to have a beverage for each one of the different worlds. And then for Theophany, it would, I think, wine. I think do some type of wine, a dark wine, a dark red wine, and a white wine. Do heaven and hell wines for the two factions, for the heaven and hell faction in Theophany. I think that would be kind of neat to do. Not on the docket. Plenty of other things going on right now, but I think that would be a cool thing to do. Trey was talking about the Dresden RPG, and he says that when he read the RPG before he got to all the sections of the books, and it just made me want to read faster. I can understand that. I hear they're great. Heather says, Theophany, I could see having the apothic wine kind of look. Yeah, it could. You'd have to do a really cool label design. I mean, with wines in general, when you go and buy wines outside of the, day range wine, the everyday wines, you're paying so much for the label anyway. And I'm sure doing a custom line of wine would not be cheap anyway. So you'd have to go all in on the label design and really make both of those look like something really cool. And I like the apothic wines. I knew what you were talking about. The apothic wines are actually my favorite as well. Are they my favorite? They're some of my favorites. The one that I don't like, though, there's like a dark something. The classic apothic I really like. That one shows up on gaming nights quite a bit. The apothic red blend. But there was some deep red something, intense something. I have never drunk wine that stained my teeth and lips more than that. I didn't even think it tasted all that great. When I was drinking a glass of wine the other day, like wine stains my chapped lips and everything like that. But I mean, we were sitting there drinking that at game night, whatever that other type of apothic was. It wasn't all that great. And our teeth were just like deep purple because of it. But I do like apothic wines. I wish that I were able to get wine here. That's another problem. That's a problem with as a product. First of all, there are a lot of problems with something like wine as a product because you're shipping breakable objects, and shipping breakable mugs is already a big deal. So shipping a breakable glass of wine or bottle of wine, dealing with shipping for that will be its own thing. But also, you can't ship alcohol some places. Here where I live in Alabama, I can't like join a wine like subscription service. And I hate that. Of course, like I'm trying to cut out alcohol while I'm trying to lose some weight here. But in the past, I definitely would have done like a wine subscription service. Is anybody on one of those? It sounds like it'd be really neat, but it's not legal here. You can't ship alcohol in. So even if it were something that were created, the website or something couldn't ship it everywhere in the U.S. And that's another headache to deal with, right? Shipping logistics. Some places you can't ship alcohol. if you blended a tea, you could always do something like Nyarlathotep Oolong tea. Yeah, you know, I bet you could come up with all kinds of. There are probably all kinds of puns and neat names to be had with all of the different gods as well. Teas, I don't know. It's just something I was thinking about. There's a lot of things that are on the list, but that's not part of the core list. The core list is long enough. Well, all right. I'm thinking that I'm going to wind down here in just a moment. Ordinarily, I would try to cut out and go to bed, but I do want to step into the Discord and look around the Discord and see what's going on there. And then also, if you sent me an email, I'm going to do a little bit of email and a little bit of Discord, and then wrap things up here at the house, and then try to be Adam again in the morning. And if you want to answer the call to adventure early in the morning, tag me or put it in the Discord or tag me on Twitter or something like that. I'm going to try to be here once again at 5 o'clock in the morning. So we'll get this started again and get more work done. I'm going to leave you with, as I like to do, good night, Sword.
Good night, Sword.
Good night,
Written by
everybody.
E.H.
Good night, and I will
Robinson.
see you tomorrow.
Illustrated by Adam M. Botsford. Narrated by Brianna De Silva. Part of the Tales of Rabavania. Good night, Sword. Good night, Gourd. Good night, guards who keep us all safe. Good night, Dagger. And the Iron Hauberk. Good night, Cheese. Good night, Keys. Good night, Elm. And good night, Helm. Good night, Squire. And good night, Liar. Good night, Shield. And good night to the lance only the gallant wield. Good night, Banner. And good night, Jewel. Good night, Gruel. Good night, Knights. And good night to the old soldier who says time's been cruel. Good night, maiden fair, whose favor I bear. Good night, rabbits everywhere.